Well, good day to you, brothers and sisters. Allah, dwelling in the garden, Saigon, it's now. This is the Stickman Show. The topic today is Your Life is Not Random. How to read the unseen codes of your destiny. And these are the steps that I will cover. But first, let's relax for a minute and relax in the garden. The garden's over there. The lighting is not good, so I moved in here. But there are plants here. Maybe you can see them. So let me go ahead and pull up my document. So, chance is not an illusion. So you need to look at your own life and determine what are the series of so-called random coincidences, and build, a highly organized mathematical script. Basically, is what you have to do. You have to do that, yourself, because you know those significant dates and experiences. So this is how you do it, if you want to. That is. They call me Rodney Josephson. So now your personal anchors. How can you audit your own so-called milestones? So you get your timeline of things that happen in this life, or maybe others. So, for example, you have your birth, you have places you lived, certain things that happen along the way. So there are date marks, names, and times and events. So those are your mile markers, milestones. So I promise that by the end of this video, you will get the framework of how to audit your own life, and using the time, geometry, language, and geography for your particular existence. And everyone's a little different. You have to dig into this. And then when you have your basic ideas, dates, times, names, places, and so forth, then you can use the internet or use AI, unless you already are familiar with various religions and scriptures and so on. You would know what they mean. If you're not, then use AI or both. Anyhow, you will begin to understand who you are. So, we'll get into the that text in a minute. But first, we're going to look at the content. So, Illusion of Randomness 2. Temporal Recalibration 3. The Family of Octave 4. Etymo-Spiritual Cryptography 5. Spatial Anchors and Macrocosmic Mirrors. And finally 6. Claiming the Eternal Now. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Okay, let me get the text here. Okay. So your temporal recalibration. Oh, sorry. I gotta go to the text. Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm not going to edit this. It's just it's coming out as it does. Step one, your temporal recalibration. You got to think about this first. The true calendar. What is your balance? What is the what are the significant, your significant feelings, your what do you think about so-called time and the cycles of day, night. Of course, that will depend on your location and what you've been led to believe about what time may be or seasons and things like that, depending on where you are in the world. So the true calendar. Remember, the true calendar. What is that? What does that mean for me? The modern calendar, distorts the so-called organic time. So the 13th month calendar, which is 13 months times 28 days, is 364 days. Now, of course, in the modern the calendar that we're using today, the Gregorian calendar, I believe, it's 12 months, 28 days to 31 days, and every 4 years is a leap year. So it's not really an alignment. It's more of a I don't know. You don't want to call it chaos. So that's one thing you need to think about. So the 364 days plus 1 day of alignment. And for me, that is the spring equinox. So we need to see how you can restore your true sequence, your balance. That's what this is about. For example, September is the 7th month. October is the 8th month. November is the 9th month. And December is the 10th month. Because that's sept, oct, nov, decem, or dec. That's Latin, I believe. So it's that's 10 months. But in our modern world, December is the 12th month. So you can see there's a discrepancy there. So this is what we're attempting to get into balance. What is the balance? And this is my understanding and awareness of what it is for me. And I think it's probably the same for you. But that's for you to judge. So the question, what is your true numerical birth signature when stripped of the artificial calendar? How do the dates sorry, I got a little lost there. We'll get back. How do the dates of major life disruptions, remember the timeline, or personal losses translate into codes of spiritual transformation rather than endings? So something happened, and it's not an end, it's a point of transformation. So remember, it may be a trauma, but you can reinterpret it as an event to remember who you are. Step 2, or part 3, step 2. The geometry of heritage, the family octave. The family unit into which you are born serves as the foundational architecture foundational architecture house of your earthly arrival. So when you were born, what is the family you're born into, and so that is your house. Uh, what we need to do is look at the birth order and sibling count through the lens of structural completion, the octave of creation. So the core questions: where do you sit in your family's birth order? Are you representing one of the foundational material elements, the five senses? Or are you on an identical mirror or pillar meant to reconcile dualities? For step 3, the Etymo-Spiritual cryptography, decoding your name. So the concept is the person's name is an explicit linguistic instruction manual encoded by the universe. I mean, how did you get your name? Your parents gave it to you. But why did they give it to you? I don't know. That's what it is. The action. Break down the ancient etymological roots of their first, middle, and last name. So that's what you have to do. Your whole name, what does it mean? So the core questions: what do the root meanings of your names actually signify? For example, a sovereign island, a soaring eagle, or a wise ruler, or a flower. Could be many things. A king. So when you stack together these sequential, overreaching ideas, or they'll command or help you to figure out your destiny, of which your full name reveals. Part 5, step 4. Spatial anchors and macrocosmic mirrors, the coordinates. The concept as above, so below, as within, so without. The physical landmarks, city designs, and zip codes of the external world directly mirror our internal psychic evolution. So the action: map your birth year, global events, like the creation of an identical twin structure, which I was, and current living spaces, like a specific district or apartment door number. Where you are, where you have been. So the core questions: what major dualistic or unified structures were being built globally the exact year you were born? I don't know. You'll have to look into that. What do your current living coordinates say about your current spiritual phase? So, in your so-called past, you had a place. Maybe along the way you had different places, but significant. And your present place of being or residence. So again, what do your current living coordinates say about your current spiritual phase? Are you in a District 1? The City of Angels, City of Los Angeles? So for example, mine is, I'm in District 1, returning to the monad, for example. Or an apartment number, which I also have given, 4.1, blending matter with spirit. Matter, 4 elements, and spirit, 1. So, what you need to think about is, claiming your external now, your call to action. you have to go out and run your own life data through these steps. You know, you need to find your so-called 13th month or 12 month whatever configuration, or both. You're making comparisons, and the birth numbers and name etymologies in the comments, in the information that is given on those things, to begin unraveling the collective tapestry together. So what you're doing is taking all the pieces of the puzzle and putting them together. Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall and went into pieces, but you're putting them back together again. Basically is what we're doing here. So the comprehensive reference materials, we want to build the absolute authority in your so-called life, your presentation. So these are some principles that you can refer to, which are, spiritual, mathematical, and spiritual source points in your process of individuation or awakening or whatever you want to call it. So the spiritual and prophetic anchors, the law of two masters, 624, Matthew, explains the nature of duality, polarization, and the soul's necessity to choose an internal, unbroken reliance on the singular true master within over external illusions. Seek within, for the world is without. The 7 pillars of wisdom, Proverbs 9:1. Wisdom hath builded her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars, the ultimate blueprint for structural completion and domestic harmony. The sovereignty of the living, Luke 20:38. For he has not a God of the dead, but of the living. A foundational reference for understanding that physical departure is simply a transition of states within the unified field. Separation for purpose, Galatians 1:15-16. The blueprint for deep individuation, stepping away from flesh and blood, mirrors to allow the divine essence to reveal itself entirely within. The law of reaping, Galatians 6:7. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. The universal law of cause and effect and structural calibration within the matrix. The 42-month sorting window, Revelation 11:2 and 3, and a Revelation 12:6, references the sacred 1,260-day, 42-month timeline of internal refinement, conscious testing, and spiritual transformation. The call to a high vantage point, Revelation 4:1. The cosmic instruction to come up hither, to perceive life from a sovereign, elevated perspective above the material chaos. The monadic declaration, Deuteronomy 6:4 and John 17:21. The ultimate scriptural parameters of absolute oneness, where all separate moving pieces are integrated back into a single unified whole. 2. Esoteric and metaphysical sources, the monad. Pythagorean numerology, the concept of the one, the indivisible original source of all creation, before duality, division, or fragmentation occurs. Carl Jung's concept of individuation, the foundational depth psychology framework for describing the arduous journey of reconciling internal dualities, integrating the unconscious shadow, and shifting awareness from the ego to the immortal self. The Hermetic principles of correspondence, found in ancient mystery school traditions, summarized as above, so below, as within, so without. It establishes that the macrocosm, the universe, world infrastructure, is a mirror of the microcosm, the individual soul. The ecliptic and Ophiuchus, the 13th constellation, the astronomical truth of the 13th sign, symbolizing the serpent bearer, the rising of inner spiritual energy, hidden knowledge, and systemic regeneration that sits at the center of the 12-part wheel, so-called calendar. Eastern astrological cycles, the fire horse, the cyclical energy profile representing rapid externalization, independent communication, and the phase where hidden internal realizations run openly on the physical plane. So what I have just explained to you, as I did, is that that is like a blueprint, a map, based on what my background has been. Now, based on your family octave, the Etymo-Spiritual cryptography, these are the hidden messages. The spatial anchors, where you've been, and above and below, and all of these ideas that I just explained. And finally, claiming the eternal now. I am that I am, and that's it. So when you map out your life and fully integrate and understand the meanings that these texts and processes will convey, will give you, insight or so-called enlightenment into your divine path. Only you can internalize that and process that information, because it's you. It's a reflection of you based on those so-called significant parts or elements in your life and your life path. And then you can come to some form of conclusion, to settle your world. And so this video, again, I'm not editing it. I just did what I did. So don't shoot the messenger. So what you can do is look at the written text, which would be on Substack and also LinkedIn, to find the actual written written description of what I just did in detail. So I'm going to leave it there. I wish you all the best in finding your path, your destiny, and your eternal now, or your oneness with everything. And as I usually always say, seek within, for the world is without. I'm just a messenger delivering the message. So I'm giving you the bread, but it is you who must eat the bread and digest it, as Jesus said. So it's really up to you. I wish you all the best. I'm going to end it there. Alive, dwelling in the garden, Saigon. My name is Rodney Josephson. It's now. And by the way, I'll be doing my own reading of my life story in the next video. So check that one out. Thank you.